Okay, I clicked go live. Hello there, welcome everyone to our post The Mandalorian episode spoiler chat. We're doing this as a bit of a weekly episodic chat and game at the same time, where we're going to talk about the most recent episode of the Mandalorian Disney Plus series, where we're going to talk about all of the spoilers and the details from this episode that's just aired. So, spoiler warning, we are going to be talking about episode 6, titled The Tragedy. Tragedy, yes. So I am Nyridia, and today I'll be playing Nyridia, my bounty hunter, because we're going with a bit of a bounty hunting theme here.
And this is Matt playing Toombs.
Yep. So we are going to, as teased in the last episode of The Mandalorian, Tython has been sort of introduced into the series, and of course anybody that's played SWTOR is very well versed in Tython. So as bounty hunters, we can't quite just go to the planet and run around because it's a Republic planet, but there is a flashpoint sort of mini story section where we can go and see Tython after it's been attacked by the Empire. Hello, Major Irritation. Glad to have you with us. So we're going to be jumping into the assault on Tython and getting stuck into talking about some of the awesome episode moments from the most recent episode of The Mandalorian.
So just a quick heads up, what we're going to run through in sort of study veteran mode here in SWTOR is a little bit down the timeline if you've never played SWTOR before, but we're going to move through it so fast that it won't really be particularly spoilery. We're just using it as a background. Hello, Jalari Renzel, also joining us in chat. The SWTOR won't be too much of a spoilery playthrough. We're just going to move through fast as, like I say, background to the conversation in chat about that short but intense episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
The shortest episode to date, but actually felt like a lot happened. There was a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
Some really critical exposition in the dialogue.
Yeah. I really do hope that this isn't a trend of shorter and shorter episodes. I mean, at some point they've got to give us like a really big meaty one to make up for this.
Yeah, surely. But of course, Temuera Morrison had some of the longest stretches.
Ooh, yeah.
The Mightiest Avengers joined us again. Hey there. And it was a step up in intensity. I mean, right from the get-go, there were surprises hitting hard and fast.
Yep. Just watch your health there, Toombs. Yeah. Like, I was kind of hoping that Tim's sort of mini sort of cameo at the end of one of the earlier episodes was not just going to be a one-off, just to let people know that he's sort of alive in this timeline. That was super exciting to see him come in and, yeah, like, fully embody Boba Fett. Like, we know because he was, Jango Fett in episode 2 that, of course, when Boba was older he would look like Tim, but this is finally Tim getting to be the full embodiment of Boba Fett, which was just really fun to see.
The setup, I mean, the opening, the cold start, and the previous episode recounting really let us know from the get-go that we were going to be tying up a number of loose ends.
Yeah.
So, as it opened, I got the strong feeling that we'd be seeing Ming-Na Wen as Fennec, and some strong clues that it was going to be Ted Morrison returning, and right from the get-go, it looked like we were going to see those Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
It was really cool to hear them called Dark Troopers. Let's just take a quick look at the chat though. Major Irritation talking about Tim's tire skills. It really did look like it was him wielding
Yes. It reminded me of when we actually got to meet Tim while we were sort of helping him film a local TV show some years back, and he sort of showed off a little bit of his skills with one of the lightsabers that we had.
He did some twirling with the lightsabers,
that was sort of it felt really reminiscent of that sort of.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you go? Oh, okay. Yep. Ah, wow. Okay, they hit hard. We're going to have to crowd control those.
Yeah, sorry, we're talking and playing at the same time. We'll,
yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I was reading the chat.
Discuss a little more strategy.
Yeah. So yeah, Tawera Boy says Boba Fett felt like the return to form we got for Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One.
It did. Yeah, really stepped up and saw action that was very.
He's very much been like the Darth Maul and Captain Phasma sort of character that has a lot of love in the fandom, but we didn't really get to see them do as much on screen as perhaps fans would have hoped. Particularly in the he's really cool in the original trilogy, but we don't actually get to see him fight that much. Okay, I'm going to you crowd control that silver, and I'll do this one here at the end. But yeah, getting him to actually be the good fighter that we know he would be, and using the full arsenal of his armor and his skill with a weapon, like the little knee rockets, and using his backpack and his little viewfinder and everything. That was just really cool.
Even the knee darts that were first described on the vintage action figure. Back in the comic book advertising for the vintage action figure, talked about their knee darts.
Yeah.
So Freddie's joined in, pump an episode, for sure. The episode title, I was almost glad that the episode title gave us a little bit of expectation management.
Yes.
We knew it wasn't going to end fantastically, that there was going to be some serious jeopardy. I'm going to stun that Republic officer.
I'll do the gold.
So I'm cannot see the target. So I'm kind of glad that even though it was minor spoilery, and we're heading in a really interesting direction with a setup of quite a big team.
The tragedy, holy moly, I lost it. I know, honestly, that really made me gasp out loud. I was like,
oh. You talking about the title, or are you talking about the...
Oh, no, the Razor Crest.
Or are you talking about the Razor Crest?
The Razor Crest, yeah. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, no.
It's gone. There's no coming back from that.
It was just obliterated.
Oh, dear, This is going to be Razor Crest too. Be interesting to see who they get to turn up. Luke has the potential. Yeah, we still don't know where they're going.
Yes,
because he sent out his communique, his beam message for quite a long stretch there.
Yes, so it could reach far off into the galaxy. They haven't given us too much to go on to see who could turn up.
The amount of times it's been broken, the Razor Crest has been broken. It's like
Yeah, it's gone.
Which Jedi did he communicate? It's gone now.
Yeah, it's sad.
Two more episodes to go, wrapping it up before Christmas. We know that episode 3, season 3 rather, is in pre-production. So they know where the story is going without a doubt. And just about to get these guys from the unit.
Yep, just doing the silver.
So just going to jump around the conversation a little bit because I'm concentrating on these fights as well. But, it was cool to hear Dark Troopers referred to as Dark Troopers, so basically confirmed that they're pulling on the Legends characters there in that regard. They were kind of fun to see. They were being as dark as they were.
And clear daylight. So you saw all the details all close up. I liked, nice clear shots of the helmets. They looked quite intimidating, but with that sort of red stormtrooper-esque eyes. And
they looked like they borrowed a little bit from Death Trooper stylings, and they had some joints and some cybernetics that made me think of K2SO.
Yeah, the feet and the ankles.
Yeah.
Particularly the sort of round feet joints and things like that.
Avenger pointing out that we didn't really get a satisfying answer to where Din Djarin's backpack went. He put it down, he didn't pick it back up. We didn't see him with it afterwards. Maybe that was intentional, maybe it just wasn't covered.
Yeah. I'm just going to run over to this
growing is still a big question.
Yes, like it kind of felt like in that previous episode that he was sort of wanting, like he was observing the Dark Troopers when he was talking about it, and it was like, oh, was he, making some sort of, super soldier imbued with the Force or something? But we got to see them fully active and working. So, and they're droids, not people, unless they've got cyborg sort of brains in them or something. But
speaking of droids, not people, seeing Ming-Na Wen's cybernetics as the explanation really does bring home the fact that it's pretty hard to die in Star Wars. I mean, Palpatine didn't die, Maul didn't die, Ming-Na Wen didn't die. Everyone wants to know, did Mace Windu actually die?
Yeah.
Because that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, at this point, I'm like, I wouldn't be half surprised if it's like Mace Windu is the one that answers the call or something, Turns out he wasn't quite dead.
Okay, just going to get a little bit loud here. This is it.
Yeah, Jalari says it doesn't look like Mando's rifle survived because I guess it wasn't on him. He lost a lot of weapons.
His whole weapons cabinet went down.
That's all in the. Just hop out of the AoE. Everything that he had was
the Razor Crest control knob. The play toy of Grogu survived. That was a cool touch at the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was just blown away by how much sort of dialogue and how significant Tim's character as Boba Fett really was. I thought that was super freaking cool. They canonized, they distorted a little bit of the Clone Wars canon by referring to Jango Fett as a family.
Yes.
Which,
because there's that whole sort of they're not actually Mandos type thing.
Which is fine. I don't fully hate that. Slight reinterpretation.
Well, I think it was just very confusing for a lot of people. They have the armor, they look like Mandalorians, and, the concept of foundlings means you don't need to be born on Mandalore to be a Mandalorian. So, so if they've kind of changed things up and they've made it that, Jango and Boba are, Mandalorians, they're just adopted Mandalorians, then that works really well. And Mightiest Avenger says, most exciting piece of Star Wars I've personally seen in a while. The action, the dialogue. Yes. I mean, this season, the first season there was some really good sort of like open mouth gasping moments and things like that. But I think now that we're fully invested in the characters and there's so many riddles, it just feels like the surprises are more intense. Every time something's revealed or teased or even mentioned, I'm just like, the action in this one, almost the brutality of the way that
Boba fighting.
The crunching sounds, and the way he just like obliterates some of those stormtroopers. It's like, this is the Boba Fett that people have always wanted to see, what he's really capable of. And this
some backup.
Okay.
Okay. Left. Can you
Yep,
get to it?
got it. Oh, dread it. Okay.
Okay.
I'll grab this one.
Yeah, and it was super cool to see Tim in the armor. He obviously had different undergarments on because that didn't survive his escape from the Sarlacc, and he threw it on over what he was previously wearing. Weathering on armor always looks cool, and serious level of weathering that he's got. Mouth dropped in the first 5 minutes and stayed that way. There's so much going on, and like I say, it's only a 34-minute episode, but there's a lot to digest, a lot to unpack. Okay, got this guy down to 12%. Sorry to leave you hanging.
That's okay. It's got to test me a little bit.
A little bit more conversation, so I've got chat over on my left-hand side. Try to keep an eye on that. yeah, talking about how much was in the episode. I mean, we saw the Slave One flying in overhead pretty much as soon as they got the Tython, and you kind of always get the inkling that they're going to do some of these things, that we're going to see Boba Fett return, but when they actually do it, they don't mess around. It's fully in your face. Slave One, full heavy duty. Boba Fett's joining the gang. He's not. It wasn't just a passing encounter.
That's
happy to get his armor back, so he's committed.
Yeah, he was like that was quite a big ask. You know, like that they would protect Baby Yoda, Grogu. You know, just in exchange for his armor. Like that's a he's committed.
And I did crack up when the opening scenes. Well, that just past the cold opening. When Din Djarin was testing the baby or playing with the baby, depending on your point of view, and
getting him to respond to his name.
talking about Ahsoka as the nice lady.
Yeah, that was funny. Never mind. Yeah. And I like, as a SWTOR player, and like Tython was the very first planet I played on. I was happy to see that it feels like the Tython. Like, obviously it's not exactly the same because it's thousands of years later, but I liked that it didn't contradict what we know in the game. That to me was special.
Didn't join us right at the start. What we're playing here in SWTOR at the moment is actually on Tython. It's not during the early chapters of the game. It is a little bit down the timeline when it's been attacked.
But still thousands of years before we see it in...
So what we're looking at, I'm just mentioning it so that it's clear that what we're looking at now isn't Tython in its prime.
Yeah, it's been bombed.
I won't talk about the story. I'll talk about the story much more than that. Because it is worth playing through. The thing about SWTOR is that it is really good for some in-world story as well as just sort of fun cooperative gameplay by yourself with other people. Boba Fett's line of "I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe."
Yeah, and he's like my father. It's just like,
That's a super useful line, just as a general life philosophy. You know, that guy's getting double stunned.
Oh, okay. But it was really fun just to know that wasn't just a tease. That they sort of made good on their word, as it were, bringing such a beloved character back, that it wasn't just going to be just a small little...
I mean, we kind of know, because it's a story, that they're not going to do anything, if they couldn't quite take the baby up and start experimenting on it straight away, that just wouldn't work in terms of the way the story needs to pan out. But there's definitely some jeopardy here. The clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Boba and Din and Fennec and whoever else they get together in the gang have got to get there.
Yeah. Are we going to see?
Are we
going to see the Empire actually achieve what they want to with, the sort of midichlorian infused blood or whatever it is that they're trying to achieve? Like, is that gonna be the big ultimate threat for this season, defeating whatever it is that they're trying to create or do with it, or is it just going to be rescuing Grogu and stopping the Empire from doing whatever it is that they're trying to do? I mean, there's so many questions. I mean, they've got to answer what they want him for, what they want his blood for. Hopefully by the end of this season. Hopefully that's not too much of a tease going on to the next one.
Well, this episode's been huge. I suspect they're going to want... to continue to amp it up, to continue to dial it up, and to not burn everything they got up their sleeve before the next one. So I think we're probably going to get not a lot of, there's some open-ended threads at the end of it. Robert Rodriguez was perfect to direct this.
Yeah. Fred says they're setting up a new Marvel-style Star Wars Universe Boba series. It's going to be badass. That would be, like, as a New Zealander, it's always super exciting to see, the the New Zealand actors that have been in Star Wars kind of get a little bit more sort of pulling in and things like that. So, like, initially when, you know, they were talking about live action series and they're like, oh, Boba Fett series, and I'm like, like, I wasn't sure whether I was in love with the idea. I've always been a little bit more on the Obi-Wan camp, but after seeing what they've really done with it, I'm fully on board. If they did a spin-off, like,
character.
Yeah.
He put some serious character acting into that, you know, brief appearance, I think.
Yeah.
That's my amateur analysis anyway.
And a fun new alternate Boba Fett costume for fans to work on it. Mightiest Avenger says he killed it, literally. Like, honestly, I need to go back and, like, watch those fight scenes. It was so satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, splitting stormtrooper armor left and right.
Yeah, the crunch of the helmets and the spike through the chest. Oh, you got it. Yeah. The spikes through the chests and everything like that. It was just like, yeah. And it was kind of fun seeing a gaffy stick really work. Like, we kind of see in A New Hope when the Tuskens attack Luke, but not really what it's fully capable of. And it was really quite fun.
Tusken rifle, which he didn't even need to use.
Yeah,
he enjoyed the gaffy stick.
And it was kind of fun seeing the weapon that's in, you know, takes big inspiration from a Pacific Island sort of original weapon, and being used to sort of full effect by you know, somebody of Pacific Island heritage.
Yeah, well, the gaffy stick's based on a Tokyo Fijian war club, which is a truly brutal weapon. It's modified on the axe end, but it's not modified on the
club edge.
The spiky weighted end.
Yeah.
I mean, the spike on the original weapon that the Star Wars weapon is based on is a expanding cone. So, if you strike someone with it, you are gonna a big hole.
Yeah. So many figures I want from this season. Oh yeah, like, all the new Boba Fett variants. I wouldn't be surprised if the next HasLab vehicle is a slave, like a full detailed slave one or something like that. That would be funny.
Well, it could go a little bigger. There is a re-released Vintage Collection one that was an Amazon exclusive that is available through Zavvi. That's quite large. I think it's about 20 inches tall on its vertical stand.
Oh yeah.
But they could go bigger, a shade bigger to get because I mean, the interior capacity of the slave one's got to be similar-ish to the Razor Crest for you better live happily on it.
Yeah, it'll be fun if we actually get to see a little bit more of the interior in the upcoming episodes. If this is the vehicle that he's going to be traveling around on, we don't really see too much out beside the cockpit in previous films.
HasLab had to get their Razor Crest up and funded before the Razor Crest was destroyed in world.
Yes, because everyone's like, oh, no, it's only in like 1.5 seasons. I don't need it now.
Yeah. So as he'll go hunting for military surplus, see if he can find another one of.
Yeah.
We'll
find
see.
Something similar, or.
It's still a very cool vehicle.
Yeah.
Speaking of vehicles, the Imperial dropships very much look like precursors to the First Order dropships.
Yes.
When I first saw them, you know, the question was it Jedi? Was it answering Vader's call? But that would have been a little bit quick.
A little bit fast, but
the lines, the colours, the cleanliness, and really stood out as being Imperial.
Yeah, very much like the dropships from Force Awakens.
Yeah, slave one vehicles are definitely going to go up in demand.
Yes. Oh, just about everything Boba Fett. Like we'd recently acquired the Black Series helmet, and that one is
Hasbro,
that one is
I bet Hasbro's going to do another re-release.
Yeah.
Re-release the Stormtrooper helmet with so many paint variants.
Yeah. Oh, the Stormtrooper variants were fun. The
yeah,
yellow
the
one.
Border Trooper with his
Yeah.
yellow, and seeing pauldrons, orange pauldron again.
Yeah, for sort of the commanders and stuff like that. That was fun.
I think orange has sometimes been referred to, or in the early days as a sergeant, but that seemed to be. He called one of his troops an idiot just before he bit the dust. It was a bit brutal.
Yeah.
Moff Gideon's theme music. He is a very cool villain, and they are taking time to give him a bit of presence and give him a bit of gravitas with his flowing cape striding down the halls.
Yes, very like Krennic or even Vader, and him pulling out the Darksaber in front of Grogu. Like, I was like, is Grogu gonna do something, or is Gideon gonna do something? Yeah, he was taunting him with it, like
there's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
I do hope that the Dark Trooper figures. I hope we get his toys.
Ooh, yes, yeah,
for sure. So we're probably fighting a little inefficiently here.
Yeah, I know. I'm like thinking and talking it. Fred says, I'm calling it Luke in the last episode. That would be, I think I would shriek so loud the neighbours would hear. Like, I would be like,
the Jedi reveal has got to be the cliffhanger for the last episode, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
because they kind of seem to focus on the fact that he was doing that for a long time, so it kind of makes you feel like he's reaching into the depths of the galaxy here. Somebody that's far away, somebody that's like hidden, definitely trying to sort of hide on a remote planet somewhere. So yeah.
If they got Mark Hamill in some way. Okay, so we've got a battle in chat here. Is it going to be Luke or is it going to be Ezra?
Ezra, yeah.
Place your bets.
I don't know. Like, I'm like, I see the.
Did they intentionally go ahead?
The the arguments for either of them. I could see.
I'd be happy with any established character, to be honest. Probably to a point.
Yeah.
I don't think. Might not be a lightsaber, exactly. There's always danger
that is interesting.
Like
yes.
That. Yeah. I think we might have touched on that.
Yes.
Last conversation.
Just touching the Force, you don't necessarily know. Asajj is a little bit of a.
Asajj is dead, but.
But yes, it could be any kind of dark side character that might have.
Open.
Yes. Because we know that. This is before Force Awakens and things like that, so we know that there is certainly a number of dark side Force users lurking, and if the Empire knows of it, then any dark side users would certainly know of it as well. Oh, this guy takes so long to kill.
Just jumping back in chat, Modest Avenger pointing out that Moff Gideon actually said when he was talking about the Darksaber, you can't use this yet.
Ooh.
Like I say, there's a lot of story there. I don't know. He's got a definite interest in Force users and presumably the dark side of the Force. Whether or not he has any level of latent abilities, possibly not, but he's definitely got an interest in it, and he's.
Yeah. You don't know, like, whether they'll give us more sort of history, like Gideon would, granted his age, would have known, the Emperor and Vader. He's obviously a high-ranking Imperial. So whether he sort of feels like the Empire needs a dark side user to be strong as a leader. So he's like trying to sort of manufacture something.
Yep, and it could pop up as in your notes.
Yeah. Oh, Mando carrying Grogu via jetpack at the start. That was kind of cute. That was a little sort of fun moment. The sort of Indiana Jones moment of the rolling rock, but actually getting the stormtroopers that time.
Stormtrooper bowling, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a fun sort of moment. Mightiest Avenger says, the thing I'm thinking about is that Thrawn must not be working with the Empire, because otherwise surely he must be working on the top of Gideon, so I reckon he was disgraced after losing to Ezra and the Space Whales. That's interesting. Yeah, you don't know whether RIP disruptor rifle. Yeah, I know. I was just like,
all of that action. I've forgotten about the Thrawn loose end. I thought we'd hit on most of the loose ends.
Yeah, in this episode, yeah. Seeing a live action Thrawn or Ezra would blow my mind even more. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's almost like a race for any of the high ranking Imperials to sort of come out on top. Like in the splinter factions or something, like whether there's a bunch of high-ranking Imperials and it's just whoever can kind of get the most powerful sort of control over the galaxy as to kind of who gets to become the new supreme leader, as it were, of the Empire. So whether we see Thrawn and Gideon kind of vying for each other, whether we see a little bit of Imperial infighting, now that there's a bit of a power vacuum.
It's always been a little bit of a theme in the expanded novels, that all in the post-Return of the Jedi era, there's always been remnants sort of vying for control, either locally or on a grander scale.
It makes me think of some of the Star Trek storylines with the Klingons. You know, they've always sort of, you know, these different factions and you know, they're trying to sort of pip each other to be sort of the ultimate leader. It kind of makes me feel like whether we see this or whether they'll sort of explain the dynamics with Thrawn being Imperial or whether he is just completely separate entity at this point.
We've just entered the bombed up Jedi Temple a few thousand years before the Mandalorian. That's why we're hearing sad music. Oh, you won't hear the music.
No, I've got it's like sad episode 3 music. Just imagine, the sad episode 3 music playing at the moment, because we're trying to attack the Jedi Temple and the Jedi don't want us to. Interesting design for the Imperial cruiser. I'm not the most
I think that is
well versed of the different types.
Has been seen in the animated lineup.
Okay.
So the chat will probably give us the name with a bit of luck.
Yeah, I'm not very good at identifying all the different types of Star Destroyers and cruisers and things like that.
Everyone
but that
was when they saw Slave One. That was a powerful moment. It was very early on.
Because there was no like.
And once they'd shown that, you knew it was going to be Boba Fett returning. There's just no
ambiguity about it.
Two ways about it.
Yeah.
That's when we knew.
Yeah. But yeah, that's. Oh, I'm going in the wrong door.
No, we don't need that room.
But yeah. Oh, and the little moment of stunning poor Grogu with the earring. And his tiny little handcuffs.
Why do stormtroopers have tiny handcuffs? There's no one else that would fit.
Do they have like a whole like rack of like all the different sizes of Imperial handcuffs just for all the different aliens that they might have to imprison?
He's got tiny little wrists.
Yeah.
They would be just useless for anything else. But they've had them before, so they probably organised. Yeah, you're right.
They'd have them specially made just for him. But yeah. Oh, each episode's they just make you want to go back and go through all the. Oh, when they were going through the list, when Cara Dune was going through the list of the prisoners and that, I'm like, somebody's gonna have to like go through and do a gallery of every face that's in there and see if they can translate the Orbish or figure out who all these people are. I'm just like, yep, they're gonna put an Easter egg in there somewhere. That's gonna be a for a second or third viewing to go through and ID all those people, because yeah, there's going to be something cool in there. Like, I was kind of like, oh, I wonder who they're going to pull in here, but yeah, so returning character from sorry, I'm just not paying attention to my health here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was not expecting him, but yeah, I guess they're going for somebody that's like quite ruthless.
Yeah, well, it's an ensemble team, so they're going to have different skill sets. They're going to need a lot of firepower because they're going to be outnumbered, whatever they come up. Wikipedia says that 2 interclass destroyers were used in Thrawn's fleet.
Okay. Yeah.
Trivia that I noticed after we chatted last week online and Reddit, the HK droids on the planet
Yes.
had Thrawn's fleet symbol on the side of their heads.
Yeah.
So they did originate from Thrawn's fleet, from his repository of weaponry. Right, let's go through this quickly. Yeah. So we do still have a big Thrawn loose end, and will that be set up for season 3 possibly?
Yeah. Yeah. Are we gonna see him in this one at all? It'll be interesting.
So there was some really cool Grogu moments. It was quite a lot more expressive. It was interesting to see that he paid a lot more attention. His behaviour was a bit more mature when his name was used.
Yeah.
And obviously when he got to the Seeing Stone, he knew what needed to be done. And he went straight into meditation mode there with his little
pinched fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming up to his.
Okay, Modest Avenger's given us a formal name from Gideon's ship. Thank you for that. Arquitton's class command cruiser.
Okay. Turn your companion off and run. Watch the. Yep. Oh, we're gonna cross over.
Yeah.
Sorry, just concentrating on this bit. Is the one complicated bit of the fight that we've got to just watch. Oh, crossing over again.
Just use those cultos liberally in that phase if you need them.
Yep, got it. Thrawn as a major story could be on the Ahsoka spin-off. Yeah, I mean, the chance, I'd say, at this point of one or more spin-offs has got to be so high. I mean, I've seen all the memes about, the Mandalorian is like the one thing dragging Disney Plus into success, it's like, yeah.
The Disney shareholders meetings coming up in the near future. We haven't, not last time, but we have got some information at the time of that in the past. Disney's been taking a hit with their parks. So they may be trying to actually share some good news. And the other bit of trivia that's to keep in mind is it's the anniversary of Lucasfilm, the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm next. 50th? Yeah. Next year.
Yeah, that's big.
Online just been starting to talk about that. So yeah, it could be a big year with some big stories and multiple series unpacking. Well, in terms of what stories they do use, whether it's a longer movie or this episodic format, I think they're getting a good feel for what works.
Well, it's particularly interesting now with the just the announcement today. Toombs, of Warner Brothers deciding to put all of their 2021 movies on a streaming service as well as cinemas. So this could, I mean, other movie companies, studios are going to be. Sorry, I'm just trying to concentrate. Whereabouts are you? I can't see.
Away from you at the moment.
Sorry, I'm just gonna put this down. I can't find you. Where are you?
Yep, you're heading in the right direction.
Oh, there you are. Oh, okay.
Don't do it if you can't manage it. No, you need
Oh,
help.
no. Oh, sorry. I was just about scanning it. Oh, well.
Yeah, just need to do it on stream.
Yes. Oh, silly. Okay.
Let's try it again.
Yep. Yeah, those rocks hurt. But yeah, like at the end of these episodes, you kind of feel like you know where the story's going, and then it still manages to surprise you. I think that's what I'm just like really enjoying, is not really being able to anticipate the surprises. Like I didn't actually I didn't see the Razor Crest getting destroyed. That was a complete shock. And I'd almost like the thing at the start, like reminding us of Ming-Na Wen's character from the first season. I was like, okay, she'll probably turn up in this one, but I had kind of forgotten that people had noted the spur noise at the end of that episode. Yeah, of the unseen figure walking up to her. So
that's the spur noise that we heard all the way back to Empire Strikes Back, whenever Boba Fett made an appearance, even though he doesn't have spurs on his boots.
Yeah.
And we've only got 2 episodes left, and as Scrappy's pointing out in chat, next episode is going to have to be a Prison Break one at some level. You're quite right.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, will we see any other characters that we'd seen in that episode, or maybe any other little snippets of any other characters, whether they pass a few cells with some people that we might recognize just as little Easter eggs and stuff like that. Okay, ready? You running?
Yep.
Good. You'll be punished for your crimes. I think we made the mistake of not hitting one of his datacrons in that last run.
Companion health is low. I can't do much about that. Trying to get through.
Yeah, it's because I've got my companion switched off during that fight. Yeah. I don't know who could be their slicer. Din doesn't want droids. Yeah. So, I thought, I don't recall Ming-Na Wen's outfit in the first season, but I really liked her outfit in this one.
It's the same helmet, for sure. But I don't know if they tweaked her actual apparel beyond that. Quite possibly.
Whether we'll get to find out a little bit more about her now that we're sort of seeing her work together.
Yeah, everyone's pretty tightly bound together in terms of being committed to each other's causes. So.
Yeah. We didn't know too much about Cara Dune when we first met her, and we certainly know a lot more. It was neat to see her again in a small role with her sort of referencing that rebel medallion.
Yeah.
Got it? Yep. Hondo or Bosk, that would be pretty cool to see. Yeah. Yeah, because...
Bosk would be cool.
We know that
any established bounty hunter would
Disney
be cool.
loves to, obviously, where's my companion? Make reference to Galaxy's Edge, so it would be kind of fun to see a live action Hondo there, seeing as they already have kind of an established look for him for the animatronics in the park. But yeah, Bosk is always fun because they've pulled in, wasn't IG-88, but pretty close. And then you've got Boba Fett, so that would be kind of fun to pull in a couple of the other classic OT. That could be fun.
I like Dengar. I don't know why. I think I like him just because of the vintage action figures.
Yeah. Tinga with more prosthetics.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, that made a big difference getting that. Oh, Deco. I have 4.
I didn't pay attention to what was it.
Statue of Cowed Man. Oh, I received it.
Okay, you can have it.
Okay, we'll go to the end of this flashpoint. But yeah. See if there were any more highlights on my thing. Yeah, I've heard some people talk about, are we going to see Grogu go to the dark side? And to be honest, it was like, I'd seen some memes talking about, like, we saw him do some not exactly vicious, but more aggressive force uses, like sort of a choking or like attacking. And then in this season, people were like, well, the most we've seen him is like grab the knob or cookies. And then, so actually seeing him attack the stormtroopers, that felt sort of more vicious, a little bit more like, yeah. And of course it tires him out.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see whether they do push on that a little bit. And would Mando even really understand if a dark side user came forward? Would he, would it be a dark side user acting under the pretense of being a Jedi that could come and try and steal him?
Yeah, so just looking at chat there, Scrappy's speculating about slicing experts to help with the prison break. But yeah, that episode last.
The droid was in the ship, wasn't it? There was a droid that Frog Lady sliced.
Yeah.
But that was, the remnants of that were in the ship, which is now obliterated, so... Yeah.
Richard Ayoade's character,
yeah.
Mayfield, was he a bit more of a weapons expert than slicing expert?
Yeah, with his sort of extra shoulder guns. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how they play out the next episode. In terms of like the trailers and things like that, I think it was the footage in the trailer was only from the first couple of episodes, so we really don't know. And I haven't been putting too much stock in some of the rumors, so I haven't been sort of reading up to see if there's been any sort of leaked info or whether it's just mainly speculation at this point. I mean, I feel like most of the big surprises have been kept quite well under wraps, like Baby Yoda's name and things like that, so it'll be really interesting to see where it goes in these. Is it just 2 episodes left, isn't it? Oh my gosh, it feels like it goes by too fast.
A little bit more team assembly, and now that Gideon has Grogu, it's clear that that's the face-off. And I guess we'll see Dark Troopers in action again.
Yeah, because there was definitely more than 4 on the ship that we saw. So we only saw 4 deployed, and that was a pretty formidable... we didn't really see them fight, did we? They just kind of rocketed down and grabbed him because he was tired.
Yeah, Din Djarin was just approaching just as they were launching with their rocket boots. Like I said before, it's always good to watch this more than once. But to do this chat, we jump straight in.
Yeah, so we've only seen it the once.
But after we wrap this up, we're going to go back and watch it, and I guess a few of you that are watching me will do that.
Yeah.
Cyborg chick, that's how Boba might be able to do slicing. Maybe Boba herself, because he helped with Keto cybernetics. She did say that. She did kind of, didn't go into a lot of detail, but did credit Boba with his cybernetics. He's had the Slave One, so he hasn't been stuck on Tatooine.
Because
to be tracking.
He would have parked it somewhere in Return of the Jedi.
So he's been out and about doing stuff and meeting people.
And are we going to find out exactly how he got out? Like whether they're going to fill that in this series, or whether they're going to use a different medium to tell that story. A separate series, a movie, a book, something.
They give him a series which is looking, as far as just probability is concerned, more and more likely in terms of.
I reckon the fan demand is there, because that was the big rumor, when they talked about doing other TV series and other movies, like a Boba Fett movie was like right up there as like one of the most likely and one of the most sort of popular things. And
the Kenobi script got turned into a series, so if there was any sort of basic plot for Boba Fett. So we talked about this a little bit last week. I think the Boba Fett series is probably a prelude to this, and at the time that sort of notion was being floated, we didn't have the information that he had Slave One, that he had the capacity to leave Tatooine. So it could well have just been that he was locked on Tatooine and trying to eke out an existence, just barely surviving, getting by. But now he's got the Slave One. The doors open a lot wider for much more stories. You might just end up in everyone's series on Tatooine. Certainly could cross paths. On some level. Let's go run through Zerka just for something in the background.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, you wonder whether Obi-Wan was there when Jango was killed. You don't know whether he would feel any kind of pity or remorse for Boba Fett. Or whether he sees him as an adversary by the time he's old Hermit Ben.
Okay, so we're just.
Or whether he would task Boba Fett to secretly help him look after Luke, because at this point Luke is alive.
How cool would it be if Mace was still alive? Yeah, we touched on that just right at the beginning. In the conversation that it's actually pretty hard to kill people in the Star Wars universe. People's brains would melt if Samuel L. Jackson showed up in the series, like straight up freaking melt. I think. But it would be super cool.
Oh, sorry. I haven't picked up my quests yet.
Mace could be the one that got Grogu out of the temple.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, Like, they sort of, his memory was a bit foggy, and obviously, because Ahsoka would know people. So if Grogu had, like, a mental image of whoever rescued him, you think that Ahsoka would have recognized him, but they've kind of hidden that by his vision, his memory's cloudy to kind of get past that, at least for now.
There's quite a few funny memes floating around about why Grogu wasn't mowed down with the other younglings.
Oh yeah,
in the bathroom at the time,
break.
Or Anakin had a soft moment and told him not to go to the Jedi temple that day.
It's definitely a series that leaves us like with so many questions. It's like a satisfying balance of giving us some new reveals and some new information and progressing the story, but then leaving us with a whole lot of questions. Like, I was kind of hoping that we didn't get like a whole side quest before we got to Tython, and so that was kind of satisfying.
Yeah.
We just went like, okay, we go to Tython, okay, we turn up at Tython.
We could see it wasn't a green planet. It was right at the beginning, pretty clear. Oh, I think I go. I'm just going to jump around the conversation though. We just touched on it. I'd really love to see I'd actually love to see a repainted version, even though it's a cheap way to go, a repainted version of the Hasbro Black Series helmet with the new paint job. I'd totally be up for that. I've done plenty of repaints. I did notice when we were at an EB Games the other day that the white prototype Black Series Boba Fett helmet does actually have some of the weathering of the Empire version in its sculpt, which I thought was a little bit of a shame. They could have smoothed that out before they painted it white, but if they go in the other direction to a more weathered version, that don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Boba Fett has been popular for so long in merch. That seems like a pretty easy decision. It'll be a race for the customers to get
Did you notice that too, Freddie? The prototype helmets still had the dents
and the texture underneath it. Sorry, my companion's being annoying.
So there's a lot of wow moments. What do you think was your favourite wow moment from that episode? Like, since Revan Saber is so wide.
Oh, okay. So is the Palpatine one. Oh.
That's interesting. Well, can I take a look at one of those in our YouTube channel shortly, actually, and compare it against some fan-made ones, which will be an interesting comparison.
Yeah.
We've had some fan-made ones for quite a while because the Revan Saber and variants of it are available in this game for characters to use, and you use them on your main Jedi, don't you?
Yes. They were the spiked Revan hilt was created in the game just as a hilt that people could find and use, and then when they brought Revan into the storyline, they used a particular lightsaber.
Just use that asset.
Yeah, and my main character had been using 2 of the spiked lightsabers as her main 2 lightsabers. So I was like freaking out when they suddenly showed up as Revan's lightsabers.
Okay, compare it against the MR version and the sizing of that version. That's interesting.
The dark saber in this game infused 2 light cord lightsaber with white black crystal. Yeah, I'm always a fan of the very different colors and different cores available in this game. I remember when the first Rakghoul, the very original version of the Rakghoul event came out, and they had black-green crystals, and oh my gosh, that was so exciting. I don't usually use green on my main Jedi character, but she bought those and used them for ages. And then she had...
just looking at chat, Marty's just going to sign off. Hey, good to have you in chat. We are going to do this for the next couple of episodes.
Yeah.
So, hope to see you there.
Yeah. Well, we enjoy chatting, so we figure, it's a nice spoiler sort of enclosed chat, so people can just listen, and it doesn't show up in people's social media. So it's a fun way to just be able to chat. So thanks for joining us.
Okay, I think we've got a bit separated here.
Were you not doing the... Oh, you're over there. Okay.
Yep. Okay, I was just trying to spot you on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing things a little bit on autopilot here, so what do we actually got? I need some more biotoxic containers.
Oh yeah, I do too. Upstairs. I do, obviously it was a little bit sad when some of the Old Republic stuff kind of got not so canon anymore with Disney, but I really did appreciate Tython being involved in that one.
Say that again, sorry?
I really did appreciate Tython being picked, yeah. Like, I was always a little bit sad that it wasn't where Luke was, but at the same time it made sense. And it was a gorgeous filming location and all of that, and it fit.
Those wide shots were really interesting. We didn't see a lot of Jedi architecture.
No.
Just the point of...
Just the seeing stone.
Meditation.
Which, yeah. They said, I'm pretty sure said it was like by ruins, so yeah. They didn't need to actually show too much.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us, Johnny Cage. We enjoy having these chats. It looked like it was filmed on location.
Take it easy, Freddie. Yeah, it did look like location, but given what some of that hilly terrain, they could well have been in the wild for that stormtrooper fighting.
Yeah, which is interesting.
It's just easier when it's a terrain of
that they could climb up.
That it has that level of contouring, probably.
Yeah. Our daughter said that it felt like it was actually filmed in New Zealand. There were sort of elements of it that certainly reminded me of some of the terrain from Lord of the Rings.
South Island, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Little bit rockier than we maybe sometimes see, but the general terrain was believable.
Yeah.
I don't think it actually was, and I don't know how much of it was digital or just actual based on plate photography, but
I'm very much looking forward to the behind the scenes.
Well, that's the thing. As soon as this finishes, we're going to probably run straight into a confirmed
gallery series.
Probably 8 episode gallery series, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
They were an interesting mix last time round, so we might continue doing this for a little while after the series actually wraps, if we can talk about those as well.
Yeah. And oh my gosh,
general Star Wars
Armageddon
stuff.
Expo needs to get Tim back.
Don't they just?
Like
the only time he's been a celebrity guest at Armageddon Expo was promoting something that wasn't Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's... Like, I know people, like, he signed Star Wars things for people, but I don't think he specifically had, Star Wars photos to sign. I still need a couple more. But yeah, that would be pretty cool for Star Wars fans, particularly if, obviously, international cons are quite lucrative for celebrities, but with international travel being not quite as desirable these days, it would be kind of fun to get him to turn up to a local con. I reckon, not that Boba Fett's ever been uncool, but it would certainly reignite and bring the character to perhaps a younger and modern audience. The Mandalorian is definitely bringing in a lot of new Star Wars fans. People that may not have, the virality of Baby Yoda and everything like that has certainly drawn in more people to try out Star Wars and watch the series. So there's probably a lot of...
the fact that Tim is actually on set means he's actually in LA at the moment.
Yes.
Don't know how long he's been there or what that means. But he can go back to New Zealand. It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
And do an appearance at an upcoming Armageddon. That would be superb. Solari wants to do her in-game armor and use New Zealand background.
Yeah.
To Mandalorian armor.
Photo shoots.
Well, I mean, we could probably find places to do photo shoots in New Zealand that are pretty blooming close to.
Yeah.
Tython.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Yeah, because that's the bonus of finding locations that that kind of resemble New Zealand in a bit. It means stormtroopers, like Boba's sort of Tuscan-esque, I should say, outfit wouldn't be too hard of a costume to do.
Nah.
Which means you could do a really cool photo shoot, in some New Zealand locales, with him with a gaffy stick and some stormtroopers. That's got to be fun. Project for the 501st. And there's a if you happen to be of Maori or Pacific Island ethnicity, then boom, face character. That's gonna be cool. Bonus and yeah, his I'm sure people will be screenshotting the episode for all the new sort of Mandalorian details with the sort of fabric and the new. I think it was. I don't know how close to his original costume the belt was, the one that he was wearing when he was in sort of robes.
Yeah, I'm going to pay a lot more attention to details like that. So we've just wrapped up this daily area. We're probably going to call it now in terms of the stream.
I still don't know what my favorite moment in that series was, though. I loved seeing the one thing that I didn't actually mention is how much I appreciated seeing the visible aspects of the Force, like that sort of the Force sort of aura and the bubble that Grogu was projecting when he was on the stone. You don't always see Force powers being used, like certainly in the video games they have more of a visual aspect to them, not just kind of like an invisible mind trick or something like that. Like there are abilities in video games that have a visual element to them so that you can see what it is that you're doing and attacking, and I liked being able to see the blue sort of signal beam, as it were, but the sort of the protection and the way that the sort of etchings in the stone all lit up so that you could sort of really see them well. That was really quite fun to see. I did enjoy that.
Fun thing about this conversation is that it means when we go back and when I go back, we know what to look out for, what details we want to catch on the next viewing. Yeah. So like I say, we've just wrapped up this daily area. It's probably a good time to call it. And I think we're going to go back and watch it again, even though it's quite a late night.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's a good Friday night activity. Yeah.
So thank you for signing in and joining into the conversation with us. We appreciate having you on board and contributing and just sharing the hype with other local fans. It's really cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's obviously a show that everyone wants to like geek out over all the details and things like that. So we really appreciate you guys coming to join us with, geeking out about the new developments and the new little touches and things like that. And just gushing all about all the details in a completely spoilerific way.
And for sure, same thing, same time next week. Same time. Depending on the episode duration, so jumping in
about 5 minutes after it finishes.
After, because it just takes us that amount of time to
get the stream set
right
up
to the end.
Yeah.
But thank you to those that have been keeping an eye on chat. It's been great speaking to you, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.
Thanks for coming, and may the Force be with you.